look, these people argue that passing issue 1, doctors and jobs will come raining from the sky. Does that ring true to you? It doesn't, because it's a lie. Like so many of the things that they say, it simply is not true. I'll tell you what causes people to decide whether to go to an area, to locate there, or to leave there. It is whether it has an educated workforce for the jobs and the school system for their kids. That's why people move into an area, and that's why people move out of an area. It's the school system, bottom line. Have you ever thought about a family sitting around thinking about where they should move to Tulsa or wherever, and you can just see the family sitting around saying, well, I don't know, I'm not real sure about their tort law there. I mean, it's absurd that they would make these arguments. That it's pie in the sky. I mean, you can say anything, and people will believe it. If you say it often enough. Adolf Hitler proved that. They call it the big lie. And I'm not trying to equate these people to that monster, although I don't have any respect for them whatsoever. I wouldn't go that far. But we learned something about the manipulation of data from that monster. There's a reason why a democracy put him in power. And we need to always be cognizant of that, because it can happen anywhere.
Well, I want to say something to that, because if you really read the history after World War I, going toward World War II, what happened that was so critical was the tripartite, the Reichstag, meaning their legislature, their chancellor. He became all of it. The Reichstag disappeared. It was all, authority was absolute. So the 3 branches of government, now they didn't have a constitution, but I'm telling you, there was no check, because all the power merged into one person. He worked it very simply to become the chancellor as well as the president, and then the fire in the Reichstag, and he blamed it on the communists and the Jews, all of that stuff. It was the big lie. And I got to tell you, if you really read the story, I'm sitting there going, oh, we're here again. We're watching it again. In my time. And it just puts me in a state of shock that it can happen.
You don't? Okay, I want to make sure.
Actually, I want to talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
Goebbels, as I recall, and a lot of the people got their education on propaganda here in the States. And somebody mentioned before the big TV ads, the reason they use them is that they often work. We had 18% turnout in our primary elections. Some of these special tax increases are minimal turnout, and oftentimes on these ballot initiatives, the turnout is far less than even on the main. As they go down the ballot, they just don't even bother to care. My question for each of you is, what can we do to overcome the massive amount of money that's going to be thrown to promote this?
That is a great question. And I wish there was some magical answer. There's not, in my judgment. The only thing we can do is what we're doing right now. The only thing we can do is what Michelle's been out there doing, what Justice Jonathan and everybody else has been doing. Get out and talk to your friends. Get out and talk to your family. Get out and talk to your church group. Get out and talk to everybody you can and urge them, beg them to get out and vote. And it's not just about issue 1. There are a lot of reasons to go to the ballot box in November of 2018.
Well, and I want to mention, in terms of fundraising, I knew when I got into this, I wasn't going to be able to meet the fundraising on the other side, so I took a different tactic. I trust Arkansans, okay? And I know from my campaigning times years ago They want to see you and talk to you. And everybody I have talked to, other than the sponsors, everybody that I have talked to, after we talk about it and they learn about it, they said, no, I'm not going to vote for that. My point here is that when you actually give them the time of day and talk about it and say, go talk to your friends and your families and your anybody, the cashier in the store, I don't care. Let them know, because
One day my son, we were getting gas, and he saw me, all pumps were full, and he saw me reach in my purse with my cards, and I said, I'll be back. He goes, Mom, and I'm like, I'll be back. And I went to every pump and spoke to every single one and gave them a card. So take the opportunity. I mean, when I go to restaurants, the tip, leave it in there. I mean, there are so many opportunities to educate people with this, and that's the way you do win, is education, and instead of just sitting there. I tell people in all of our meetings, do not sit there on November the 7th saying, I wish I would have done more. I wish I would have went to a meeting. I wish I would have sent that email. I wish I would have called my friend. I do not want any of my friends or anyone listening to this say, I have regret. I want all of us to say we did everything we could to defeat this bill.
And one good way is Voter Circle. And Voter Circle is digital canvassing. Our group has it, and you can upload it on your cell phone. Voter Circle, free.
We'll share it. I'll get it from
Yeah,
you.
share
I'll
it.
share it on our women's rights all the time.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you, that way you can upload it. It merges voter list with your contact list. There's an email message. You can personalize it if you want to. And then you decide who on your contact list you want to send this email to. And it doesn't keep your contacts. It's secure. It doesn't keep your contacts. The Protecting Arkansas Families has the same thing through Voter Circle. And then they have a different message. But the point here is that it will go under your email, so that when a friend receives it, they will recognize the email address. So this isn't coming from, some place in the sky. And when that happens, you will see, and there's a report that says how many emails that were sent out, how many unique voters you touched, meaning you actually touched a voter. It's kind of like the old days of canvassing neighborhoods. We still do it, and we are targeted in doing it. We only go to voters. But what is so interesting about this is you can change your message. You have to touch voters at least 3 times.
You have to get them out.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
The
to
bottom
your
line
question
is getting them to the polls.
You have to turn out the vote. And of course, Protect Arkansas Families and Liberty Defense Network has been blessed to have some money. So we have a traditional GOTV, they call it Get Out the Vote
Right.
Campaign. We have the traditional methods for getting out the vote. But I share your concern. They had those same campaigns in other midterm elections, and they did not get the vote turned out the way we need it on issue 1. It's a tool, we'll use it, but ultimately it's going to be up to us to get the vote out.
I think when it comes to this, at the stage that it's in, we already know that we're in battle with the people that have the money. So defeating them with some sort of budget or funds is not the way to do it. It's all about getting off your horse and walking them to give them a break. So you're going to have to just mingle with people, If you can relate to them, don't try, because it's going to seem like you're forcing them and just sounding like a politician.
Right.
Basically, you're just going to have to stay in your lane, and you're going to have to communicate with people as you cross people in your lane. Because this has been tons and tons of people in the communities that I am in that knew nothing about this issue if it wasn't for me. And what I think that this issue is going to do is going to upset those that are for issue 1, because this is giving people a legitimate reason, more defined reason, to show up to the polls. So this is a war that they really didn't want. So if they wanted it, even if they try or attempt to slow down, it's too late, because you have two main components in this fight that you have to protect, which are the young and the old. The young has to have an opportunity to one day get old. And the ones in the middle understand that I have to be that sacrifice. But I cannot let you affect those before me or after me. So this is what's going to do it, by having the organization you have, and that's why we did the other one, Our Lives Matter Too.
We do have an organization that Jonathan is helping me with, and it's called Our Lives Matter Too. It's on Facebook, and we're pushing it also. But I hear a lot about corporate money.